A funeral without her. I stood by my mother's grave, the cold wind biting at my skin. Li Fenghua. The name on the tombstone felt heavier than the earth beneath my feet. She had been my everything, the woman who raised me alone, who sacrificed everything for me. And yet, the one person who should have stood beside me that day was missing. Shu Yirong, my wife, hadn't come. The whispers surrounded me. Some made excuses for her absence, but I knew the truth. She wasn't grieving. She was elsewhere, pleasing another man's mother. A betrayal worse than death. That night, I came home to the scent of her cooking. Shu Yuran sat at the dining table, glowing under the chandelier's light, typing away on her phone. "You're back?" she asked casually. I took the phone from her hands. My stomach turned at the message on the screen. "Auntie, I hope you liked the gifts. I'll visit soon." Not my mother, other man's. "Where were you today?" My voice was cold. She hesitated. "At a dinner with Li Zhen's family. You know how important business connections are." I laughed bitterly. "While my mother was buried, you were playing the perfect daughter-in-law for someone else." She sighed. "Jingcheng, don't twist this. You know how much effort I've put into this deal. So a deal was more important than my mother's funeral?" Her silence was answer enough. The wife who never belonged to me. I pulled a small velvet box from my pocket and tossed it onto the table. Inside was a jade bracelet, my mother's last gift for her future daughter-in-law. "This was meant for you," I said, "but you don't deserve it." Her lips parted, but no words came. "You made your choice today, and I made mine." I turned to leave. "Jingcheng, wait," she called. "Just what, Yuren?" "Just didn't care enough?" Silence. "I was a fool to think you were ever mine." And with that I walked out. For good. A world without me. Weeks turned to months. At first, Yuran didn't react. She assumed I'd come back. But this time, I didn't. The divorce papers were sent within a week. And then, the cracks in her perfect world began to show. Her first contract failed. Investors pulled out. The whispers grew louder. Without me, her empire crumbled. She also came to know I was the guy in the shadows secretly supporting her company. Now, that force was gone. The final plea. 6 months later, she found me at an exclusive club, a club which she came to know I owned. "Jingcheng," she whispered, looking fragile, exhausted. I barely glanced up. "Why are you here, Yuren?" I made a mistake. I met her gaze. "You didn't make a mistake? You made a choice." Her eyes welled with tears. "Please, just one more chance." I chuckled coldly. "Yuran, I was never your home. I was just a convenience." "I love you," she whispered. "No, Yuran," I said. "You loved what I gave you, but you never loved me." Her tears fell, but I felt nothing. "Go home, Yuran." I walked past her without another glance. A love that came too late. Weeks later, her world collapsed. Her company crumbled. The man she had chosen over me had taken her money and left her for someone else. One night, she waited outside my office, looking fragile. "I lost everything," she whispered, "but I still love you." I met her gaze, expression unreadable. "No, Yuran, you don't love me. You regret losing me." Her tears fell, but that chapter was over. A future without her. As I drove away, my phone buzzed. A message from the woman who had always stood by me. "Are you on your way?" I smiled. "Yes. I wouldn't keep you waiting." This time I wasn't looking back.